Something has been trying to reach you, Taurus, but have you been listening? Have you brushed off the dreams that repeated too often, ignored the number that showed up everywhere, laughed off the goosebumps that came without reason? There is a promise hidden in the signs you've dismissed, a sacred agreement your soul made long before this life. And now, in October 2025, the energy you've resisted is circling back, not to haunt, but to fulfill. But be warned, this time if you don't listen, the universe will stop whispering and start shaking, Taurus. Why do you still doubt what you feel just because it doesn't make sense? The universe is not a courtroom. It doesn't argue its case. It simply repeats the signal until you're forced to choose, stay asleep or awaken. Lately, the signs have been louder. A clock that always reads 10:10. A dream where someone speaks a name you've never heard. But somehow, no. The way your chest tightens before a phone rings, that sudden memory of a moment from years ago that shouldn't matter but does. These aren't accidents, they're promises resurfacing. You see, long before this moment, before you were Taurus, before you were even body, your soul made a pact, a divine agreement to come here, to this exact timeline, to walk through this exact awakening. But part of the contract was this: you would forget until the time came to remember. And that time is now. October 2025 is not just another month in your calendar, it's a cosmic checkpoint, a moment designed by forces far older than logic. But here's the truth: the universe has already tried to wake you. It used gentleness first, soft whispers in your dreams, the right song at the right time, a stranger's words echoing something you needed to hear. But you didn't believe it. You called it coincidence. You called it imagination. You said, maybe I'm just tired. So now the signs must grow louder. Because a promise is still a promise, even if you ignore it. Taurus, have you noticed people from your past suddenly reappearing? Has your body been unusually sensitive, more tired, more tense, more reactive? Have you been feeling watched? Not in fear, but in awareness. As if something is observing your choices, not to punish, but to redirect. That's not paranoia, that's divine accountability. You are being asked, will you finally honor the promise? Will you stop running from the messages that keep finding you? Because behind them is a gift, not a reward, a reminder. Something you were born to become, something you promised to remember. But that gift won't be dropped in your lap. It requires presence. It requires you to stop saying, I'll deal with it later. Later is gone. It's now. There is a room in your house where the air feels different. There's a person who brings out emotions you thought you had buried. There's a sentence that keeps echoing in your mind. These are not distractions, they're clues. And when the moment comes, when one of those signs turns into an undeniable encounter, you must be ready. Because this time, if you ignore it, the opportunity may not return. Taurus, if this message stirs something in your soul, write this sacred decree in the comments to unlock the next step of your path. I recognize the signs. I remember the promise. I choose to listen now. Speak it with presence. Feel it in your bones. This is not just a comment. It is your soul's response to the call. And if this message resonated with your spirit, leave your hype here. Like, comment, and share this video. And if you feel the call, become a member of this channel. Each hype shared strengthens this vibration, expands this portal, and brings this awakening to other souls waiting for their sign, just like you were. Taurus, have you noticed how fast things are changing? Even when you do nothing, it's as if the world around you is rearranging itself, and you're simply trying to catch up. But this isn't chaos. This is alignment in motion. You've felt it. Conversations that end before you're ready, or never begin. Sudden distance from people who once felt essential. Moments where everything feels unfamiliar, even your own thoughts. And maybe you've been asking, am I going backwards? Why do I feel so disconnected from what used to matter? Here's the truth. You're not going backwards. You're leaving behind a version of you that was never meant to last. The promise you made before you came into this life, the soul agreement you've been running from, is now activating. and it's doing so by dismantling anything that doesn't serve it. Let me explain. There's a path you chose long ago, not with words, but with frequency. You chose to be a bringer of truth, not just for others, but for yourself. You agreed to walk through fire if it meant remembering who you really are. And now, the flames are here. But they're not here to burn you. They're here to burn away what isn't you. That job you took out of fear, that relationship you held on to for safety, that identity you clung to for approval. They were never the promise. They were detours, lessons, echoes of an older version of you, one that did what it needed to survive. But Taurus, you didn't come here just to survive. You came to fulfill something much larger. And the signs you ignored, they weren't just warnings, they were invitations. Invitations to remember. The dream you gave up because someone said it wasn't practical. The vision you had at 17 that still gives you chills. The path you secretly long for but have convinced yourself is too late. It's not too late. It's just waiting for your yes, but that yes has consequences. It may cost you approval. It may cost you comfort. It may require a death, not of your body, but of your mask. And here is the question that this entire month places before you. Can you release the version of you that others love to become the version your soul needs? Because that version, the one aligned with the original promise, is not here to please. They are here to awaken. They speak differently. They walk away when others stay. They choose silence over false harmony. They follow the signs even when no one else sees them. And that version of you is knocking. Every breakdown you felt recently, every strange dream, every word someone spoke that hit too deep, it's all part of the activation. So now the signs shift. They're no longer whispers. They become tests. Will you listen to your body when it says, this space isn't safe? Will you honor your intuition when it says, not this path? Will you walk away when your soul says, you've outgrown this? Or will you wait for the universe to rip it from you? Because that is also a form of grace, but a harder one. You have the chance now to move with the current, to flow instead of be dragged, to say, I remember the promise, I'm ready to keep it. And when you do, even quietly, the universe rearranges itself again, but this time to support you, Taurus. When you finally start honoring the signs start honoring you. You begin to notice that certain things don't just appear, they arrive, not by chance, but by frequency, not to test you, but to mirror your new alignment. You wake up thinking of a name, and they message you that afternoon. You cancel an event last minute and avoid an unexpected chaos. You walk a different route and cross paths with someone who speaks to your soul. This is not coincidence. This is your promise responding, because when you shift internally, the world must shift around you. Energy doesn't lie. And now, the reality you're stepping into is beginning to reconfigure itself to match the version of you that finally said yes. But here's what most won't tell you. Synchronicity is not always comfortable. Sometimes it comes as a new person who instantly feels familiar, yet challenges everything you've built. Sometimes it shows up as a job opportunity that pulls you far from your current life. Sometimes it's a sudden ending that feels like loss, but is actually liberation. And Taurus, you are about to face a moment where your choice will echo far beyond the moment itself. It may come disguised as something ordinary, a conversation that stirs forgotten emotion, a delayed meeting that places you in the wrong place at the right time, an old journal you find with words that now sound like prophecy. But behind that ordinary event is an extraordinary doorway. Will you walk through? Because this is how promises are fulfilled, not by grand gestures, but by quiet recognition. There is someone coming into your field who is carrying a key, not a literal one, an energetic one. They may say something simple like, "You seem different," or ask a question like, "Have you ever thought about..." And that will be the moment, the reminder. The voice inside you will whisper, "This is part of it," and the universe will wait. Not to see if you're perfect, but to see if you're present. Because Taurus, here's what you must understand. You're not being asked to leap without guidance. You're being asked to recognize that the guidance is already here. The sign you need is not coming. It's already arrived. You're just now attuned enough to see it. So ask yourself, who has recently entered your life that feels strangely aligned? What message keeps repeating, even from different sources? What invitation are you resisting, not because it's wrong, but because it's true? This is the part of the promise where the universe stops nudging and starts arranging, but it won't wait forever. Alignment has a frequency, and it favors those who move when the call is soft, not when the ground is crumbling. You have a choice now. Step forward and be met, or hesitate and be passed by. Neither is wrong, but only one fulfills the agreement your soul made long before you had a name: Taurus. The promise was never meant to be fulfilled alone, and now the presence you've been sensing, in your dreams, in your bones, in the quiet moments between thoughts, begins to take shape. Someone is entering your life, or has already arrived. They may look like an ordinary figure, a colleague, a client, a forgotten friend, a stranger with kind eyes. But their energy, it carries the signature of your next chapter. You'll feel it. Your breath will shift. The air around them will feel charged, like a memory you never lived, but somehow miss. Your logic will hesitate, but your body will lean forward. This is the divine emissary, not sent to solve your problems, but to reveal your power. Baba Vanga often spoke of crossroads spirits, those who appear not to change your path, but to confirm it. And Taurus, this is your moment. But here's the paradox. This guide may not comfort you. They may challenge everything you thought you wanted. They may ask questions that hurt, or reflect back to you the parts of yourself you've tried to hide. Why? Because the promise isn't about safety, it's about sovereignty. And sovereignty can't grow in comfort. This presence, human or not, is a mirror, and what they show you could change everything. It may look like a sudden opportunity that forces you to choose between safety and truth, a confession that unlocks a memory you buried, a rupture in a relationship you thought was stable, and in that moment you'll want to ask, why now? Why them? Why me? But those questions won't help, because deep down, you already know. You called this in. When you started waking up, when you whispered in the dark, I want more. When you told the universe, I'm ready. This is the response. So Taurus, when this person speaks, listen. When they trigger you, observe. When they inspire you, follow. Because their arrival is not the end. It is the activation. They are a temporary flame meant to light your inner fire, and they won't stay forever. They're not meant to. They are the catalyst, not the container. They're the doorbell, not the home. They are the echo of your own soul, disguised as someone else. But their presence is sacred, because after them, nothing will feel the same. Not your choices, not your silence, not your reflection. This is the part of the promise where you must decide. Will you engage with what they mirror or reject it out of fear? Will you use this moment to leap or to lock the door? Because one path leads to the life you were always meant to live, and the other leads back into the loop you already escaped once. Taurus. The final sign isn't a symbol, it's a shift in your being. The promise you once forgot has been living quietly inside you. Waiting. It didn't need your belief, only your readiness. And now, here you are. You've followed the breadcrumbs, faced the mirror, heard the whisper beneath the noise, and whether or not you feel certain, something inside you is no longer willing to wait. This is the return, not to what was, but to what always was. Before the forgetting, you are remembering your original frequency, the vibration of who you were before the world told you who to be. This is why things have felt so strange. Your body is recalibrating. Your dreams are accelerating. Your soul is asking, now that you know, will you live like you know? Because knowing without action is self-abandonment, And Taurus, you've abandoned yourself long enough. You've said yes when you meant no. You've shrunk to fit spaces you were meant to transform. You've ignored the signs, not out of ignorance, but out of fear. But not anymore. The final step in fulfilling the promise is this: embodiment. Not speaking your truth, living it. Not writing the vision, walking it. Not waiting for alignment, becoming it. You are not chasing the new timeline. You are the new timeline, and everything else will now respond accordingly. The relationships not built on truth, they will dissolve. The work not aligned with your gift, it will crumble. The identity you crafted for safety, it will feel like a costume you can no longer wear. Let it fall, because in the rubble, you'll find the root. And from that root, you will grow everything new. But before you rise, Taurus, there is one final act of devotion. Forgive yourself for missing the signs, for delaying the leap, for needing one more reminder. Forgive yourself because even your detours were part of the path. Even the silence carried wisdom. And now, the promise is not just remembered, it is fulfilled in every breath, in every choice, in every no that protects your yes. So stand still. Feel the frequency settle. This is your reset. Not the end of the story, but the moment you begin to live it as you were always meant to. I remember who I am, and I walk now in the truth I once feared. Write this in the comments. Let it become the seal of your transformation. This is more than a phrase. It is a spiritual signature, a vow renewed. And if this message stirred something ancient in you, leave your hype below. Like this video, share it, speak it forward. And if it touches your soul deeply, become a member of this channel. Each hype you send fuels this portal, strengthens this prophecy, and carries this light to those who have also forgotten and are ready to remember.